Hello and welcome along to another episode of the FM19 Head Coach Series with me, Daniel. It's Season 1, Episode 2, and today we play our first game of the season with our first club, Hemel Hempstead, have a look at what our Director of Football's been up to over the summer, and have an in-depth look at the tactic we've created with the players we've been given. So we're back on the first day of the season. I hope you enjoyed the intro video yesterday to this series. If you haven't yet seen it, click on the eye above to catch up to find out why we're at Hemel Hempstead, as well as an in-depth look at the squad we inherited and all the players and how we were hoping to play. Then come back and see if our Director of Football's ruined our plans or not. So let's go and have a look at him. He wasn't in place last time we were here. Our chairman got the man in, so let's go and have a look and see how good he is. And let's give you a bit of a spoiler. At this level, not very good. His name's Justin Merritt. He's a 42-year-old Englishman on £230 a week, earning nearly as much as me, by the way. And his stats for judging player ability and potential are just awful, which is a bit of a concern for us. This is probably the highest reputation club he's ever been at. He was at Oxford City as a Director of Football last, in the same league as us, but normally finish a little bit lower down the table. But at this level you can't expect much more, and as a result we'll have to put up with it for now, as we have no say in whether he stays or not. Unfortunately, we did lose the star coach we had here from the last episode, which was Dimitri Karin, a man who used to coach Luton, and a name I was actually familiar with. We have got one familiar name that's come in since we've started though. Our Director of Football's brought in loads of rubbish coaches and scouts, but he has brought in Matty Fryer as a scout. And he's actually not too bad. Judging player ability and potential, he's only 7, but at this level that's not bad at all. He's also a coach too, and he probably would have done a better job there, to be honest. But that's not for us to worry about. The main reason we're here though, aside from playing our first game of the season, is to see what our Director of Football's given us since joining the club, whether he's been an active man or not. A problem we had last year with Bognor Regis and Dover for a few years. There were good signings, but there were few and far between. And we'll also have a look at the tactic we've created based on those signings and the players we already had. So let's go and have a look at the transfers. There's nothing pending at the moment. We haven't got any wage budget available. We have had a few signings come in though, as well as a lot of trialists during the time, but no outs just yet. First of all, we've got Lucas, who's a goalkeeper. Again, I'm not going for the second name. He's a 2.5-star current ability, 4-star potential keeper, 25 years old and Lithuanian. He's got under 21 international caps and has spent his last 3 years at East Thurrock in the bottom end of this division. He's been given a contract as a first team player, and if we go and look at the reports in comparison to Laurie, who was here before, he's slightly better, which is saying a lot, because he's not very good. So he's not great at handling, he's not great in the air, and he's not got great reflexes. His distribution's awful from both feet and hand, and he's not great mentally. He's also not the best physically, so I don't really know what he's good at, bar communicating. So he's good at shouting and hasn't got many other attributes, apart from being eccentric, which isn't particularly the style of keeper I usually like, despite my love for Gabor Kirai and his grey tracksuit bottoms. But let's go back and look at the next one. Callum Pritchett is a left back and a left midfielder, a versatile player, which is something you need at this level. He's 3-star ability and 5-star potential. And for those of you who remember from yesterday, we didn't have a good left back at the club. Our best option was a 2-star player. So he's going to be an important signing for us. The only problem I have again is that his stamina's not very good. So this one's not a problem for pace. But again, physically, he's not going to be able to manage 2 games a week. And those areas where we have bank holiday Monday games and things like that, he's just not going to be able to cope. But he is a decent player technically, and he's very quick, so he might be able to get down the wing to help us. So overall, I'm quite happy with that signing. Never played a professional game despite being at Slough and West Brom before. Next along the list, we have Coker, a centre-half, 2.5-star ability, 4-star potential. Can't compete with Ward or Yakubu, or another signing we've got a bit further down. So he's very much going to be the 4th choice, but it is nice to have a quick option at centre-half if our tactic doesn't work. We'll be able to then switch to slightly worse players, but those who are able to run. He's on non-contract terms, so there's no risk to it. If he's not very good, or if he doesn't play at all, then he can just go and there's no loss to the club at all. So that's a good signing for us. Next, we've got 2 players from our local club, my beloved Luton Town. Our Director of Football using his local links to get Aaron Jarvis. He's a 20-year-old striker who in real life's been on the bench and made a couple of appearances, done well in the Checker Trade Trophy. But for us, he's going to be playing in the National League South. Had a loan at Boreham Wood last year and was plucked from Basingstoke further down non-league a couple of years ago. He's a 3-star striker with 5-star potential. He's quite quick and he's got good strength, but he's not got stamina again. He's another one that may struggle with 2 games a week, though I'm hoping his natural fitness will cover for his poor stamina. Most importantly at this level, he's a very good finisher and he's got quite good composure as well. He makes good decisions, but the biggest worry is that he doesn't work very hard, so that could be a struggle for us. So we'll see what we can do with him, but he's one who's training very well already, as you can see from the bottom of the screen there. I've had to talk to him a few times about how good his training performances have been. So a signing I'm absolutely delighted with, and he was the first of 2 from Luton on the same day. Frankie Masonda's a 20-year-old centre-half, 3.5-star ability, 5-star potential. He's actually rated slightly better than Yakubu and will probably start for his first choice alongside Darren Ward. So depending on fitness, we'll probably play Masonda alongside one of the 2 experienced ones. You can see his biggest strength is our club's biggest weakness. He has 11 or 12 for every single physical attribute and will be an absolute cert to start if he can stay fit. Hopefully it won't be a problem in terms of game-to-game management. It will just be whether he gets a proper injury or not. The only worry I do have for him is he lacks composure and he's not the best in the tackle. But at this level he's fairly decent across the board and will almost certainly be a very good signing for us. And last but not least, we've got Luke Walsh. He's a 19-year-old winger, a 3-star player with 5-star potential again. Again, our director of football's been quite clever. He's bringing in young players, not too worried about their personalities, but this is one that could be tutored by someone like a Jordan Parks or a Reece Prestige in the middle of the pitch, just to get their personality up to that professional or leadership status. We did mention in the last episode that we had 2 good, quick, tricky wingers, but we had absolutely no cover for them at all, and we had no cover up front as well. So in addition to getting Jarvis in, this one's very important. He's got good technique and he's good at taking people on, and if he needs to cover up front, he's a very good finisher as well. He's got a little bit of pace and he's got good natural fitness, but he's not quite there yet as the finished article. We'll be working on a few bits with him, particularly crossing, but he's going to be a really good player to have on the bench to cover all 4 positions up there, as you'll see from our tactic in a minute. But that rounds off the signings. I'm interested to know in the comments what you think of them, so do let me know how you think we'll do based on that, as well as the players we introduced in the last episode. But we've got big important things to worry about today. It's our first game of the season at home to Chippenham Town. We're going to play that, but first we want to look at the tactic we've set up, so let's just play through. We're the slight favourites for the game, we're evens to win it, but I have no idea realistically what's going to happen with the tactic I've set up. They're not too familiar with it. I think he's a bit more defensive than normal. But either way, we'll try our best and see what happens. Firstly, some injury news and some tactical news. We've got Martin unfit. He played in a friendly on Wednesday, which was obscenely organised 3 days before the start of the season by our assistant manager. And he's now not fit to play in the league. But with 3 games in 6 days, hopefully he'll be fit for the next one. We've also got an injury to Carl Connolly, who was the only left back at the club before, and players such as Corley and Coker are still a bit tired from the midweek game. But aside from 2 or 3, we're pretty much at full strength. So let's look at our tactic we've got. We're playing a 4-4-1-1. The only reason for that is there's only 2 first-team strikers at the club, and we don't want to play them both because Roberts isn't that good. We've got a very good defence as we've mentioned, but they're also very old, so we are going to struggle a little bit in that regard. One thing I am going to do that I've just noticed quickly now is I'm going to swap Ward and Masonda over. Lloyd Doyley is not fit at all on the right hand side. He's a very slow player. So if we've got 2 slow ones separated by 2 quick ones, hopefully we'll be covered in all areas in terms of pace. So you can see we're playing a cautious mentality, which is basically the replacement for counter-attacking from last year. In possession, we've tried to play a more direct game. We're basing it on the fact that we're going to be defending deep. Out of possession, we're going to keep a narrow, low defensive line. In transition, we're going to counter-attack quickly. We've got an attacking midfielder on attack with plenty of legs who can get into the box and support. And we've got a box-to-box midfielder rather than a ball-winning midfielder. So we can hopefully get 3 men in the box at all times. And if the other winger can also get into the box, it might even give us 4. We're going to time waste a little bit. And the reason for that is once the ball goes out for a goal kick, I'm a bit worried about the old lads getting their breath back. So with Prestige a box-to-box midfielder at 32 and Ward and Doyley in their late 30s, we really want to ensure they get a breather when there's breaks in play. We want to get early whip crosses in and we want to try and run at the defence with the wingers. But other than that, we're playing for set pieces. We're trying to take advantage of the big men. Doyley and Ward will be a threat from set pieces. Masonda's good in the air. Jarvis is a good target man. So we've got 4 big men in there to attack. And any others who are decent will help out as well. One thing I have noticed out of possession is we're due to get stuck in. That's something we don't want to be doing really. We want to stay on our feet. We don't want to get sliding into challenges, particularly with these old aggressive defenders. You can see we've got the lowest possible defensive line and as narrow as possible. Doyley's naturally a centre-half as well, so he'll have no problem with that. The theory is it's okay to let crosses in because we should be able to deal with them in the box. Aaron Jarvis isn't going to press too high up top either. Not quite as defensive as we could be, but not a million miles away. And of course, there is absolutely no chance we'll be playing an offside trap or tighter marking, because we can't cope if they turn us. But that's it for the tactical setup. We did use the tactical style direct counter-attack, but we've customised it quite severely to match what we want to do and to go more and more defensive based on the slow defenders we've got. If you want to know anything else about it or you want me to show you anything else, let me know in the comments and I'll mention it in a future episode or just reply to you if it's a simple question. But let's go for our lineup for today's game. We've already met all the players between the two episodes where we introduced the players that were already here and earlier today where we did our transfers. So we've got Lucas in goal, Doyley and Pritchett are the fullbacks with Ward and Masonda in the middle, Walsh and Watt are the two wingers with Prestige and Parks in the middle, and Clifford's playing in behind Aaron Jarvis up front. We've got an assortment of rubbish on the bench, largely due to the lack of fitness from the friendly in midweek. So let's get into the game and see if this tactic's got any chance of working at all. I spent most of the FM18 story moaning that we were playing against exotic formations with a 4-4-2, and today we're the ones not playing a 4-4-2 where Chippenham aren't letting the side down. They're playing the one you expect to see. So let's get into the game. I'm just going to check the settings quickly to make sure I've got it where it should be. We have indeed. We've got that sideline view, which is the most realistic. I know it's in reverse to the sideline and the dugouts, but unfortunately the corrugated iron roof cuts it out if we do that. So we want to see all of the pitch, and as a result we're doing it on this view. But it's as close to realistic as we can get. We're a bit scrappy early doors, but Jordan Parks got it in the middle, out to the left back Pritchett, Prestige towards the left, trying to get that quick ball out to Watt on the left hand side, but unfortunately it doesn't come to anything. We are keeping possession quite well though, as Prestige finds Parks on the halfway line. We need that playmaker to provide a bit of quality. To Jarvis up front, knocks it down for Clifford, a bit lucky to be honest, and Clifford has a shot from 25 yards, but it's comfortably wide. We've got all our set-piece takers. One thing I did notice this season is that the set-piece takers were set automatically and they were largely based on rating fairly accurately, which largely saved me a job as well. So I was quite happy with that one. Another good little feature to see. Doyley throws it into Walsh. It's all us so far. Clifford trying to shoot from the edge, but it's high and wide. And I'm a bit worried that he seems to want to shoot from anywhere. But just a minute later, we've got another set piece. Prestige with the corner to Walsh, who kicks it over as I kick my desk. And you might have heard that one in the background, so apologies for that. For 15 minutes gone, it's 0-0. And we've got a warning to start closing people down from Chippenham. A free kick for us, a quarter of the game gone. Parks with a fantastic free kick. One thing you will see in the gameplay this year is there is a lot of curve on the ball, and the keeper Puddy has to make a great save. And he's a very good keeper as well. He used to play in League 2. Parks with another free kick with plenty of whip, but it's gone high and wide this time. An empty terrace in the background and it's still 0-0. We see Chippenham's first attack of the match. Corner into Jarvis and it's headed off the line by Pritchett, the new signing. Compton finds Cruz. Cruz to Jones to Compton again. Richards to Krakowski, and it's straight at the keeper Lucas, who makes a comfortable save. But the first chance of the match for them, and it was probably the best one so far. Prestige finds Doyley. Doyley beats Pritchett to Prestige. Prestige back to Pritchett again. Doyley, I don't know what he's doing over there. He shouldn't be taking throws on the left. That's got to be a setting I've missed. Walsh on the right into Jarvis. Goal on his debut, created by another debutant, and I told you he's going to be a good loan signing. What a goal from Aaron Jarvis, and I think he's going to be the man to take us this year. One thing we didn't mention as Chippenham haven't thrown from the right this season is the expectations from the board. I was trying to keep them quiet because I think they were a bit high and I wanted to moan about it when we get sacked. But I think it's best we be honest. They're expecting us to get into the playoffs, which is a bit rich. Well, obviously this is a league that contains Torquay United, who we're playing with in part of the furniture, which will start tomorrow at 4:30. There is also Billericay, who are spending $2,500 a week on some of their players and have absolutely star key players that could play in League 1 and 2. As Sanchez Watt delivers to Jarvis and he puts it just over and just wide, but it wasn't a million miles away. And I tell you what, we look very good on the counter-attack in this game. And the tactic looked like it's going to be successful early doors. Corner on the right hand side for Compton. Ward clears it away well, but they've got space on the edge of the box as we don't close down at all. Parks finds Clifford on the counter, but again we've tackled each other and the ball into the box is headed away by Masonda. Parks flicks it on towards Clifford, but it's all Chippenham in stoppage time and we don't want to concede a goal on the stroke of half time. They hit a long ball up to the box and you can see this is two teams playing direct football. Cruz on the right with a cross towards Jarvis. Good save by Lucas, and at the second time of asking, he manages to hold. And that should just about be the break. It is, and Aaron Jarvis with a fantastic finish makes the difference between the two sides. You can see Billericay, we just mentioned, a 2-0 up. Jake Howes, the former Luton player, with both goals. We're going to encourage our boys because they've been doing quite well, to be honest. One thing I have noticed, I haven't put any of my widgets on to show what we want to see this time. We normally have our player ratings from the home side. We always want to see our players, how they're getting on. We've got it up in the top corner. We want to see all 11 players from the starting lineup. We're not worried about the subs. And we'll make it just a little bit smaller so we don't cut off too much of the goal. We want to see the fitness still, so that'll do there. Doyley clears the ball away on the right, and I will have noticed if a goal goes in, I'm sure. The only other one we sometimes add is the latest event updates, but at this stage of the season, it's not so much of a worry. We will add in the match stats, actually, just so we can see if we've had any clear-cut chances and things like that. So let's move that one down there, and we'll have to come back to that in a minute. 10 minutes into the second half, it's us on the attack again. It's going to be balled away by Chippenham, and we're going to have to be careful on the counter-attack here. Ellington chasing it, has the shot, but it's gone over the bar, and that's okay for us to deal with. Apologies that there was a little cut there, as I lost my voice completely halfway through that sentence. Hour on the clock, it's a right-hand side throw into Chippenham. Clifford with a dodgy sliding challenge, but he won the ball. Cut back to Compton, who's hit the post, and Doyley gets it away. But in this second half, Chippenham are looking a lot more dangerous. We've just edged the game in terms of stats, but it's very close, and there's easy chances of this being a draw. Jarvis has got on the end of a poor goal kick. Sanchez Watt wins it back though to Pritchett. Long ball over. Jarvis is in one-on-one from the long ball. What a finish! Oh my word, he is not a National League South player. Aaron Jarvis has just scored what better be the goal of the month. A 25-yard half volley from a long kick over his shoulder. That is sensational, and I am starting to get very excited about our chances this season just because of that loan signing up front, and our director of football is about to get a lot of credit, I think. It's Chippenham bringing it forward again, but just as they were getting back into the game, that goal's made such a difference. Cruz with a shot on the edge and it's over. There's no way he's matching the talent of Jarvis for that. Let's make a couple of subs now as we come into the last 20 minutes. Clifford's had a poor game in the number 10 role, so we're going to put Walsh up there. I don't know what his best role is there. He's okay as an attacking midfielder, so I think we'll just leave him as that. Clifford will come off and we'll bring Osborne on the right, who is our natural backup right winger. He's better in the support role, and I think we will change to that just to try and see out the game comfortably. And we'll do the same with Sanchez Watt on the right. Other than that, everyone's played well. Lloyd Doyley's not had the best game and is looking complacent, so we'll take him off for Joe Howe, who's a very able deputy. One of the few players we didn't meet in the last episode. If we just bring up his stats there, he's just a sort of 7, 8 or 9 stats player across the board. 2-star ability, but can play right back, right mid, left mid and in the middle. He's got so much versatility, and that's exactly the sort of player you need at this level. We're going to get back into it for now. We'll leave the last sub. I can see Ward hasn't had the best game, but he's such a good leader that we just want to keep him on the pitch. We got the ball again with Howell, the sub right back. Prestige has lost it in the middle. I think he'll start to get tired now as a box-to-box player. Jarvis on the counter-attack for Chippenham, but they've gone all the way back to left back. And I tell you what, this regrouping and getting to a deep shape is really working because they're not able to get through us quickly. Parks finds Prestige as we've won it back again. Sanchez Watt on the left-hand side goes over for Jarvis. It's won by the centre-half though. Drops to Walsh, who's now in the number 10 role. To the sub Osborne on the right-hand side. Osborne goes inside. Walsh is going to get there again. Can he feed it through to Jarvis or will he go alone? He goes alone and he puts it comfortably wide. But again, we look threatening on the counter-attack. And it's still 2-0 with just over 10 minutes to go. Right, we're coming in stoppage time now. We're just going to make a time-wasting substitution. We'll bring off Jordan Parks in the hope that he'll recover a little bit for the midweek game, though I doubt a few minutes will make a difference. We've got Spencer McCall to come on, who's a player from the reserve team. He's not very good, and he's just going to drop to defensive for now just to see it out. He's 2-star ability, 2.5-star potential, a 24-year-old midfielder on the transfer list, and he's not going to make many appearances this season. As soon as we can get another central midfielder in, or a couple of the other players are fit, I doubt he'll get a game. But again, that's up to our director of football. As Prestige, the other centre midfielder's got injured, and he might be starting in midweek after all that. McCall does win it back to Pritchett with a long ball, over the top and straight out for a goal kick, and that's got to be it. We've played 4 of the 3 minutes, and I know we made a sub, but that shouldn't add an extra minute on. The game's over. What a start to the series this is. Not only have we won it 2-0, but that second goal from Aaron Jarvis. Just go back and replay it again. What a finish that is, and I'll be very surprised if that hasn't won goal of the month when we come back for our next episode. Let's go and praise them for the performance. They did well. Nothing special, but a good solid performance. Hopefully tomorrow, when I'm managing Torquay in part of the furniture, I'll be as successful as they have been here. A 4-0 win for them despite a red card. But most importantly, we've got 3 points on the board. We've got to keep an eye out for teams like Billericay and Torquay, who are the two favourites to go up this year, though Billericay are by far the outright favourites. Dartford are a good side up there as well, and we're expected to finish in about 8th or 9th according to the media, which is why it's a bit strange that we're expected to finish in the playoffs by our chairman. Let's see what they've said. Quality finishing is the difference in this game, and my word, it was quality finishing. Aaron Jarvis' second goal, I'll be surprised if we see a better one than that all season, to be honest. What a loan signing by a director of football. Prestige has got an injury, let's hope it's not too bad, just 1 to 2 days. He might miss the midweek game, but he should be fine after that. And Darren Ward's got a knock there as well now. They did mention this before, they said he's got a recurring injury, and that after matches he wouldn't be able to train for a few days, so I'm not just sure if that's how that works. A bit like Ledley King used to be at Spurs in real life, where he played a game once a week, didn't train in between, and then came in. What that does mean is that his physicality will probably get even worse, but he's such a good player that we have to just let that slide. Pritchett makes his professional debut alongside 4 other ones who made their debuts for the clubs. They all did really well, and Aaron Jarvis is rightly getting all the praise for this game. The one thing I have noticed that I don't like in this game so far is that the button at the bottom to talk to them's gone, and you have to go and do it manually. So we're going to go and praise him for his last performance. Absolutely brilliant in front of goal, and hopefully he'll be pleased with that as he's now got a perfect morale. Let's quickly look at the schedule and see if there's any games we fancy to come back for. One slightly strange thing I've noticed is that they're listed by month now, the scheduled split it, which looks much cleaner, it's brilliant, but the game on the 1st of September against Torquay is now in the August one. But that's only a little issue in the grand scheme of things. If they're the two favourites for the league, we have to come back for the next episode. It's going to be Torquay United away and Billericay at home, where we'll probably have 2 defeats to worry about. But nevertheless, if you did enjoy that first game of the season and that wonderful goal by Aaron Jarvis, please add a thumbs up to the video. Subscribe to the channel for regular content from Football Manager 2019. Our second news story, part of the furniture, starts with Torquay United tomorrow at 4:30. And from then on, we'll have daily content rotating between the 2 saves. Let me know down in the comments what you think of our new tactic, what you think of the squad we've been given, and what you think of the signings our director of football's made. How well do you think we'll do this year? And can we sneak that place in the playoffs that the chairman wants us to achieve? A massive thanks for watching this episode and following the story as always, and we'll see you next time.